Okay, thank you, Ron. I think first and foremost, it should be pointed out that there's really absolutely nothing to panic about at this point. I've been looking at recent satellite imagery out at the site of the accident. It's been showing a cluster of cloudiness off in this direction. It bypassed the overall site, a low-pressure system which works counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, just like it does across the United States. When it was out to the west of that area, a southerly wind brought the radiation cloud towards Scandinavia, then it hooked toward the capital, Moscow, before starting to return off to the south. Now, the most logical path for that radiation to kick on to the U.S. would be, provided that a major storm kicks it into the upper levels and it's readily carried by the jet stream, on across Siberia, the North Pacific, and then heading on in the direction of the west coast. So you can see we would be one of the last areas along the east coast of the United States to feel any effects of that radiation. So what we're saying here, basically at least a week away. If anything's to happen with this, nothing to worry about at this point. Let's go back to Ron. Good morning, everyone, from Camden with Good Morning America. I'm meteorologist Ron Harris. Yes, with Good Morning America, but not a good morning across Maine. Soggy, drizzle, and fog, and unfortunately, a soggy status quo. Forecast for the next 36 hours, showers, drizzle, and fog. Highs may crack 50 at best, cooler along the coast, and lows will be mostly in the 40s, so rather raw weather will continue. It may be cool outside, but it's heating up here in Camden with Good Morning America, and I'll have another weather update coming up in about 1 hour. Ron? Good morning. I'm meteorologist Ron Harris from Camden with Good Morning America and the crew. Not all that colorful in Camden this morning. However, with Good Morning America, things are certainly spirited and rosy. Let's check out what's happening for the forecast. A soggy synopsis today, tonight, and tomorrow. That's right. The next 36 hours, basically, we're looking at showers, drizzle, and fog, cool, onshore shivers, nasty along the coast. Highs may crack 50 and lows basically into the 40s. I'll have another look at an updated forecast, hopefully better for the weekend and more tonight on News Plus 7 at 6. For now, let's go back to Ron.
Skyscan update with meteorologist Ron Harris.
Well, I'm watching an ocean storm that looks like it's just going to give us a brush, so most of us can brush the snow away. We won't be able to brush off the cold, though, that's going to come sweeping in here on a strong northwesterly wind. Let's go to our satellite shot, 22,000 miles high and looking down. Look at this, in the east, lots of moisture, and it's causing headaches. Then we get into breaks and then more moisture in the Great Lakes. We've got one low here, another low off to the southeast, off the mid-Atlantic coast. Now here it is in the east, back and forth from this afternoon to tonight. Look at the motion, straight northeast. This is being propelled by winds at 30,000 feet that are blowing 150 miles per hour. One low moving on out. We're just going to get brushed with that one. Then this one, it's an Alberta clipper. I'm going to tell you what that means coming up shortly. But during tomorrow, here comes the Arctic front. Brrr, bitterly cold air. We're going deep into the freeze, folks, as we head into Friday and into Saturday, especially around here. Here's the cold air right up in here. Look at the highs tomorrow. 0 to 10, just the tip of the iceberg. Southeastern Florida, hey, put an extra hamburger on the grill down here. 80s, that's where my mom is. Smart lady, one of the warmest falls ever for them, and it continues, and there's no break in sight. But they have to deal with afternoon showers all the time down here, folks. What good is that? You're out in the sun, then you have that afternoon shower. You don't know what that's like? I know we didn't have it much this summer, did we? It rained all the time. Let's go now, check out the marine scene for you. This is the way it stacks up. Winds east and southeasterly, 15 to 20 knots tonight, becoming west-northwest tomorrow, 10 to 20 knots. Average seas 2 to 4 feet tonight and Friday. And we'll look for the visibility 1 to 3 miles, and the snow as it overspreads the coastal waters. A Bar Harbor high tide 7:58. And the next low tide just about 1:45 during the morning hours. The weather word, we're in for a blustery blast. I'll tell you how bone-chilling cold right after this. Well, on radar, we find the moisture straddling the eastern seaboard right in here. Some heavy showers and thunderstorms. More moisture into the northeast. Some pretty hefty snows into Massachusetts this evening. All moving northeast, again, by those strong winds in the upper levels. But you can see we'll be just on the western fringes of this, so we're not going to get the brunt of that. We're going to get some of this stuff out in here with what we call an Alberta clipper. Meanwhile, down to the south, still some light snows into western and central Texas, a freeze warning all the way down into South Texas, believe it or not, as the cold air plunges in. They only had highs in the 40s today, and they may have 20s to low 30s statewide down there. Now, we're talking about an Alberta clipper around here. Came out of Alberta during last night, swinging right through the Great Lakes now, and then off to our north. Now, these do one of two things at least. Yes, they bring a little light snow, but more importantly, introduce Arctic air or rejuvenate an Arctic air mass over your locale. And that's going to be the case. Sometimes when they come further south, their energy kicks into a coastal storm, but that's not the case this time. Timing is off, and therefore, don't worry about that ocean storm really being a problem for us. But worry about the Arctic air. If you've got weekend plans, plan on strong northwesterly winds and dangerous wind chill factors going into Saturday. So that's in my forecast for the valley and vicinity. For the rest of tonight, periodic light snow. We'll have some weak winds out there. Lows will be into the low to mid-20s. Again, it'll just be off and on, mostly off, and it won't amount to much. Dusting to perhaps an inch. You go way down east, there could be a couple of inches around there. Now, during tomorrow, we're going to look for the accent to be definitely on the clouds. A few flurries across the area. Highs will be up near freezing. Enjoy that heat wave because it's really going down deep in the cellar after that. Tomorrow night, we start it down into the low to mid-teens. Bundle up. Look at that wind chill. It'll feel like it's 20 below zero. In the gusts, like 40 below zero. And up in Aroostook County, I won't even talk about the poor people up there for tomorrow night. Now, then we go on into the direction on Saturday. Bright but blustery mountain flurries, highs only upper teens, but it'll feel like it's 0 to 10 below all day long. So we got a real Arctic chill on the way.
We'll have to open up the boxes and pull out the ear muffs for the weekend.
Yes, and maybe I need some for Christmas, by the way, anyway.
I'll keep that in mind.
It's getting cold.
Okay, thanks, Ron. Ron Lisnet's up next with all the sports action. Stay with us.
Are you sneezing, wheezing, coughing, tearing, or in just plain misery? Well, you're not alone. 1 out of every 15 people in the United States suffer from something called hay fever, which has nothing to do with hay or fevers at all. Allergy sufferers, put the handkerchiefs down for a moment. You may be able to breathe easier. Eastern Maine Medical Center, in conjunction with Channel 7, will be producing a daily allergy index. Air samples will be collected and analyzed at affiliated laboratories in Bangor. Local physicians will have an important input to the overall allergy index outcome.
We'll also be working with physicians in the area in order to be able to establish a clinical correlation between the pollen counting and spore counting that we're doing and the way that the physician's patients are feeling.
Without this baby, known as an aeroallergen rotorod sampler, it would be next to impossible to diagnose pollen in the free air. Samples from this instrument are studied by people who have the knowledge and know-how that is essential to analyze bacteria and parasites. Those people are called microbiologists.
Our microbiologists are going to be doing the pollen counting and spore counting using this apparatus. This apparatus will provide a 24-hour sampling of the spores and the pollen that's in the air.
You may not have thought about it before, but maybe it's time. Weather plays a key role in the allergy index. Pollen release is speeded up by dry, windy, mild weather conditions. Therefore, the next time you pick on little old Ron Harris for predicting a rainy, cool day, just remember, allergy sufferers may spell relief R-A-I-N. And that, my friends, is nothing to sneeze about.
Meteorologist Ron Harris is up next with the details on an approaching storm. Stay with us.
Well, for all you snow lovers, I've been trying to drum up a snowstorm for you, but it appears that the beat is just a little bit off. The question is this a symbol for the upcoming winter? Oh, that was bad, huh? We'll stare at the satellite, okay? Show you what's going on, first of all, in the east. And we've got the moisture right in here from New England, wedging back into the Great Lakes, and there's fog to the southwest. We can see that on the super shot. A lot of moisture right on in the New England area and back into the Great Lakes. Can't see down in here, lots of headaches with dense fog, southeastern states, south of Mississippi, but it is lifting a bit at this time. High pressure wheeling and dealing on off the southern New England coast. Now we're going to watch this developing low out in the Great Lakes. It's going to chug St. Lawrence Seaway, but a new low, the classic secondary low, it'll move off Virginia tomorrow afternoon, swinging off to the east-northeast. not the north-northeast, and therefore I think it's going to bite the dust. Cry, snow lovers. 20s and 30s in here begin to invade. Further south, look at this, 60s and 70s. Summer finally starting to fade after the record-setting warmth of the fall in the Sunshine State. 70s splitting the center part of that area. Why don't we go on and check out the marine scene going this way. Winds west-southwest 5 to 15 tonight, becoming southerly tomorrow at 5 to 15. Then during tomorrow night, they are going to pick up out of the north and northeast over 20 knots. Average seas slight till tomorrow night, 2 feet or less, then picking up 3 to 5 feet. Visibility looking good until tomorrow night, then dropping to a mile or less, and some snow on the coast. High tide 9:16, and the next slated low tide, well, you've got it 2 minutes after 3 during the morning. The weather word, you want some snow? Well, flaky fish. Some people like it cooked that way. What I'm saying, it's out to sea over the fish, not coming inland. We'll take a look back, too. Not only forward, we're going to check out the weather makers and some record breakers. 1986 coming up after this. Well, scanning the Super 6 states right now and the Maritimes, 21 up in the direction of Limestone, 19 in Holton. See this clear corridor right in here? That's where your coldest temperatures are, where there are clouds. Temperatures responding in warmer status, 33 Bangor, 32 in Augusta, even 29 out in Greenville. Clouds just like a blanket. You cuddle up in that blanket to keep warm. The atmosphere does much the same. The heat of the day just can't get out. Stats at the airport, dew point 25. The humidity up there, 67% rising. The barometer's falling, though, at 30.17. Nice 38 for a high, and a low of 25 should be 30 and about 15, 9 above normal. More good news for the heating bills coming up. -4, schools of them from Charlottetown to Moncton, the hub, St. John, and up in Chatham. That's 25 for you Fahrenheit fans. Lots of clouds off to the southwest, 34 down in Beantown. Check out the past. We're going back into 1986. We're almost into 87. Some of the weather makers and record breakers of that year. April, check this out. It was a month that was very, very warm. Temperature 6.1 above normal. The precipitation was also above normal. The highest temperature Bangor had was 77. No records, but the main event, big thing to hit Maine, a stalled soaking storm on the 23rd. Stalled southeast of Cape Cod about 200 miles. Gave Maine, the coastal areas, 3.5 inches of rain, 2.5 inches to the Bangor area. We'll go on now and check out what happened in the month of May 1986. 2.5 degrees above normal temperature-wise, a warm and wet one. 1.5 more precip than we should have had. All the way up to 88 degrees, the lowest for the month, 28. Records, 3 of them. 81, a record high on the 18th, 32 on the 3rd, and a chilly 28 on the 4th. Big thing to hit Maine, the main event gale south of Nova Scotia on the 12th. 36-mile-per-hour winds in Bangor, 50-mile-per-hour gusts at Falmouth, and the wind chill at Nantucket was in the teens. On we go to June, rounding out the springtime, and this is the way it stacks up. Near normal overall, 6 straight months of above normal temperatures. Precipitation slightly above 0.08 of an inch. High of 87, the lowest temperature at 39. There's your range of record. There you go, 39, a record low on the 3rd. And the main event, a severe thunderstorm outbreak on the 1st, came in with a bang. Cumberland County socked York County as well. Grapefruit-sized hail. 2 men were struck by lightning, one of them at Wood Island, Maine, but non-fatal. Thank goodness for that. All that action. Now we'll go back to the forecast. Not as action-packed going this way for the rest of tonight. Clouds in control, maybe a lonely flurry, dropping into the mid-20s, Turner 24 degrees. Now for tomorrow, we're going to look for a day where we have the clouds continuing. Very light snow could be moving in during the afternoon. A few flurries especially, no big deal. Sunshine to the mid-coast. Won't see any sunset with the thickening clouds. For tomorrow night, we'll look for a few flurries, a touch of light snow down east as that ocean storm kicks it up, but too far east, lows in the mid-20s again. And then for midweek, New Year's Eve day, flurries early, then some slow clearing. Highs will flirt with freezing, but dropping in the afternoon with a strong northerly wind. So snow lovers, you're going to have to cry again. I guess if we're going to have a dry stretch, I was thinking let's have it during the holiday season when everyone's going to travel anyhow.
Why not? We can rest up, and then the first of the year, it can all come in.
I'm sure something's waiting out there. This is New England.
Okay, thanks, Ron. Well, Ron Wolf's in for Ron Lisnett tonight. He's up next with all the sports action. Stay with us.
We definitely keep meteorologist Ron Harris working all the time, huh?
Giving his feet wet. He's out at Bass Park Live right now. Let's go to Ron now.
No feet, no ducks wet around here, under the grandstand here, but you can see they are welcoming us at the Bangor Raceway, me along with Channel 7, and as a footnote, well, Joe Pate, the great, tells me no rain. Well, if you're betting on that, the odds aren't all that great. I guess that's what we'll have to say to that. Sorry, Joe, but things will get better later in the weekend. We want to get rid of all the clouds around here, really gray, get the clouds to giddy up and gallop on out of here as we talk live from the Bangor Raceway. Bass Park, it is definitely wet, and these clouds are going to be stubborn. That's a bit of a problem, but Why not come on down? A lot of room, and you'll be dry under here. Watch them wet out there, and maybe you'll have a good win or a place. Hopefully not just a show, but whatever it is, make a little money and have a good time at it as we gallop on through it. Let's gallop on into the studio, folks, and check out what's happening on radar. And this is the reason for the rainfall. See all the precipitation? Those are echoes showing up in the northeastern states. Friday did fail around here. Some rainfall continues, while off to the south, some showers and thunder bumpers. Some of those are producing some pretty big hail down around the suburbs of Miami, also in the direction of Arkansas as well, mostly northern Arkansas. As we head out further to the west, things do tend to dry out, but much cooler weather in the northern Rockies. Look at Lewiston, Montana at 46, but Hot in Needles, California in the mid-90s, and they got moist mail in the northwest. That's what they have to open up to out there. As they open their letters tomorrow, there could be some water on them, so to speak. And we've got the water around here as well. It continues to rain. However, no, it will not be canceled tonight. Racing opening night 1986 will go on. The show must go on, and hopefully, as I say, not just a show, a win or a place, huh? Or you can get into trifectas and all that other stuff. Ron Lesnett, Ron Wolf will tell you more about that kind of stuff. Let's go back on and check out the satellite shot, just reinforcing all the clouds across the northeast. There they are across the state, arcing onto the back, and look, the clearing to the north. That's going to come in later on Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. Lots of moisture out in the northwest, quite a bit of rainfall continuing out there. They had their break yesterday, but heavy rains will be walloping them as tomorrow wears on. What do we have on the Broadview? A lot of moisture continuing in the east, but see the break up around Hudson Bay, James Bay? That's headed south in our direction. Good news. Look at that powerful storm, though, out in the Pacific, swirling around, some heavy precipitation ready to pounce in on the northwest coast. The current map shows the dual low-pressure system in the northeast, showers and embedded thunderstorms. Some of them are heavy just to our south. More on that shortly. Now, during tomorrow, we'll continue with more showers, some thunder shower activity, but things will slowly be drying out by tomorrow night. Look at the lows tonight. We're looking at a mild night across the northeast, a good night to get on out and come on down here and enjoy the racing. 60s coming on up, 50s along the coast into New England, but cold out in the west. We're looking at temperatures mostly in the 20s and in the 30s out there. And yes, you don't even need a jacket out here tonight because we are talking about some mild temperatures. It is a bit muggy as well out here, but hey, not bad to check out what is happening. Why don't we check out the local scene? And you can see the dew point is in there at 56. Also, the temperature 58. The low was 56 degrees. Visibility 1.5 miles. We've got some fog around, northeasterly winds, and I guess since we're at the raceway with Joe Pate and others, we'd have to say that hey, this weather is stubborn as a mule. Stubborn as a mule. That's the bad news. Okay, we're talking about temperatures mostly in the 50s, 70s out to the west in Vermont. They've broken out. And look at Concord, 72, some sunshine, but that could be surface heating, may lead to a thunder shower later on in some spots. There are some thunder showers showing up from about Bingham, Maine on to Bar Harbor, and they're moving north at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. All right, what are we looking at along the coastline? Well, basically, we're going to look at the winds, which are going to tend to be out of a southerly direction and then come into an easterly direction, but I've just been told we've got some sunshine breaking out here. We'll take a look at that shortly. Winds northeast 5 to 15 knots tonight, variable tomorrow at 5 to 15 knots. Your seas will average 1 to 3 feet, and the visibility mostly 3 to 6 miles in haze and showers, but down below a mile in the fog. High tide 11:03 just after 11 o'clock tonight, and the low tide coming in at 5:33 tomorrow morning. So, maybe a few breaks of sunshine, I am told. I guess on the scoreboard, I guess that looks like some breaks of sunshine. From a weather point of view, I don't buy that, but Director Joe Pate here tells me that is sun. Looks like some lights, I don't know. But hey, maybe a little bit of sunshine breaking out, no matter what. Won't dampen your spirits. Come on down here and check out things. All right, what are we going to look at next? We're going to take a look at the local forecast and talk about something called a water cycle. That's all coming up next. Good morning, everyone, from Camden with Good Morning America. I'm meteorologist Ron Harris. Yes, with Good Morning America, but not a good morning across Maine. Soggy, drizzle, and fog, and unfortunately, a soggy status quo. Forecast for the next 36 hours, showers, drizzle, and fog. Highs may crack 50 at best, cooler along the coast, and lows will be mostly in the 40s, so rather raw weather will continue. It may be cool outside, but it's heating up here in Camden with Good Morning America, and I'll have another weather update coming up in about 1 hour. Ron? Well, today here in Bangor, a whole dusting of snow. What a superstorm for us, anyhow, huh? Well, they got it to the south. Nonetheless, for us, basically, storm did bite the dust. But this weekend, don't stay indoors and dust the house. Get outside, enjoy, go for a sleigh ride, skiing, if you will, shopping, of course, if you haven't done that, It's looking to be a dandy one. Let's go to the satellite shot, super shot first. Going to find in the east coast here. Here is the moisture now. Focus your attention to the center here. See, in a 6-hour interval, the whole center is moving just about due east. It didn't come up. It went that way, and therefore didn't have to worry about heavy precipitation here. Late night shot on the super scale showing, first of all, the moisture in here. We can say good riddance, goodbye. Out on the west coast, they're saying high showers, as you saw in the football game on the west coast during this evening here on 7. Now, the cold front swinging on through. This thing's going to lose its punch, fizzle on out. During tomorrow, what we're going to find, a northwesterly flow, the cold front getting on out of here. It really is starved for moisture. Don't worry about it, but dual high pressure will work in. Meanwhile, the highs nationwide. This is great. No real Arctic here. And look at the sunshine state. 70s and 80s tomorrow. Well, they tied a record today in Miami, but it was only 84 degrees. All right, let's go to the local scene. Dew point 26, high today 37 isn't bad, and a low of 32 is the current. Light northerly winds still blowing 10, 15 miles per hour, as noted by some coastal reports from Southwest Harbor to Jonesport. 27 up in Caribou to 32 in Greenville. Maritimes, you see in New Brunswick just below freezing, -1 in Moncton, down to St. John, some light snow northern Aroostook County. This is all going to go by the boards in the next few hours, but several reports of the secondary roads icing up with a touch of some light snow, so be cautious if you're traveling tonight and early tomorrow morning. 30s out to the west, but this dry shaft has worked right into Bangor with clearing skies, some clouds further out to the west. But again, the things are going to dry out with time. But there was heavy snow to our southwest, 7 inches in Rumford, 8 inches in East Hiram, western New Hampshire, 1.5 feet, 30 inches in Wilmington, southern Vermont. Can you imagine that? Western Berkshire has picked up 1 to 2 feet and 2 to 4 inches of rain down in Massachusetts with 70-mile-per-hour winds at Nantucket. You want some more statistics? You've heard enough, right? Let's go to the marine scene. Goes this way for the rest of tonight. Calling for no longer a gale warning, downgraded to a small craft advisory by the National Weather Service. Winds backing north and northwest 15 to 30 knots tonight, north-northwest tomorrow. Seas are going to subside, maybe down to 3 to 6 feet by day's end tomorrow. Visibility near 3 miles in the mixed precipitation down east, but that's basically over. High tide you can see, and the next low tide, 7 o'clock on the money tomorrow morning. The weather word, winter solstice. Meteorological talk for the first day of astronomical winter, 11:02 Sunday, when the sun is at its lowest point. It officially starts, but for our concerns, it's already here. We'll see what the weather's going to be on Sunday right after this. Well, on the radar plot, nothing showing up here in the northeast, just that touch of light snow not showing up in northernmost Maine. Showers in the southeast with the warm temperatures in the 80s and even some thunder not far from San Francisco, very close to that ball game during tonight as the storm sweeps in. Heavy snows in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Now, you're all wondering about the holiday weather for next week, and this is the way it's going to stack up. Long-range prognosis looks like normal to above normal temperatures in the northeast and above normal in the east as far as precipitation goes. But if you probe into this, that may mean a stormy pattern in here. Warm air can hold more moisture, and that may also mean that, oh, Frosty, the snowman may be melting just a little bit, but we should have some snow at least for Christmas, the way it's looking right now. Go on to the Christmas countdown. How many days? 6 days to go, and we talk about the 6th infamous New England snowstorm, and it was a big one. The Great Storm of 1952 on Cape Cod and the islands. Most spectacular storm ever to hit southeastern Massachusetts in over half a century. Oh, wow. February 27th, 28th, 23 inches of snow at Nantucket. 10,000 homes lost electricity due to power lines snapping and near hurricane-force wind gusts. Snows piled into mountainous drifts, and a big tower did drop nearby at Secaucet down on the Cape and the islands. Nothing like that in our forecast. A tranquil weekend starting with tonight. Stars and clouds. It'll be breezy. That light snow in Aroostook County ending. Slick spots, though. Beware of that. Mid and upper 20s. Tomorrow, starting off the weekend grand style. Sunshine and clouds. Maybe a lonely flake, just like what I felt like today when I blew the storm. But we'll get the next one breezy. Highs will be into the upper 30s. For tomorrow night, a cold one. Mid-teens with a 3 season here. Clear and calm as well. And then we go into Sunday. Just as nice. Standing ovation. Let's all hear it. We've got a nice day. Spectacular sunshine. Highs near 32, and the weekend is here. That's another reason to give a standing ovation, too. So not a bad weekend at all.
Ronald, looks great. I heard you mention that we might have a little snow for Christmas. I'm always concerned that there'll be snow on the ground for Santa. Yes, is that going to happen this year?
Put you in the spirit. I think Santa will not lead the helicopter, can use the sleigh just enough, a couple of inches. We'll save that seasonal temperatures, but we may not have much more snow until that time. So we're just going to make a white Christmas.
Great. Thanks.